For years you've been told that losing weight is nothing more than a math equation. Eat fewer calories, burn more calories, and the fat will simply melt away. It sounds so convincing, so logical, and yet it's the very reason people are stuck in frustration. Because if that equation were true, then by now, after decades of dieting, you would already be at your goal weight. Millions of people have cut their calories, starved themselves, exercised until they were exhausted, and still failed. Why? Because the body doesn't operate like a simple calculator. It's not just about subtraction and addition. It's about chemistry, hormones, and how your metabolism actually responds to food. That's the trap, believing the lie that less food plus more exercise equals guaranteed weight loss. It's the biggest deception in history, and it's kept people chasing results that never come. The truth is, your body doesn't care about the number written on a food label. It's not counting calories the way you do. What it actually responds to is hormones, and the most dominant one in weight loss is insulin. You could eat a small, low-calorie snack and still gain weight if it spikes your insulin. On the other hand, you could eat something higher in calories, but low in insulin response, and still burn fat. That's why some people cut calories drastically and see no change, while others change the types of foods they eat, and suddenly the weight starts falling off. It's not the calories, it's the hormonal reaction. Insulin is the switch that determines whether your body is burning fat for fuel or storing it on your belly, your hips, and your waistline. Until you fix that, no amount of calorie cutting will ever set you free. When insulin is high, your body is completely locked into fat storing mode. It doesn't matter if you've skipped breakfast, eaten a tiny lunch, or even pushed yourself through a grueling workout, because the fat you're trying to burn is sealed away, unavailable as energy. That's why so many people feel tired, cranky, and hungry even while dieting. Their body isn't tapping into fat, it's stuck burning sugar and craving more of it. And here's the shocking part, as long as insulin stays elevated, you could literally be running on a treadmill for hours and still not touch your fat reserves. It's like having thousands of dollars locked in a vault while you're standing outside starving, you can't access it. That's what high insulin does to your body. And until you bring it down, fat loss is nothing more than a frustrating illusion. And here's where the trap gets even deeper. You've been told to eat healthy, foods that actually keep you overweight. That low-fat yogurt, that bowl of cereal, that glass of orange juice, they look clean, they sound nutritious, but the moment they hit your system, insulin spikes sky high. You think you're making the right choice because the label says low-fat or whole grain, but in reality, these foods are sugar bombs disguised as health food. They don't nourish your body. They trigger the very hormone that locks fat in place. So, while you're proudly eating your so-called healthy breakfast, your body is quietly shifting into fat storage mode. And then you wonder why you're still hungry 2 hours later, why you crash in the afternoon, why your waistline refuses to shrink. It's not your willpower that's failing. It's the misinformation you've been fed, and this is exactly why the weight loss industry never tells you the truth, because confusion is profitable. If they keep you believing that the problem is your lack of discipline, your lack of willpower, your lack of consistency, then you'll keep buying their shakes, their pills, their meal plans, and their endless promises of quick fixes. It's a cycle designed to keep you desperate. They sell you the low-fat snack that spikes your insulin, then offer you the new diet to fix the weight you gained from it. They know if you actually understood how your body works, if you truly learned how to lower insulin and unlock fat burning, you wouldn't need them anymore. And that's the last thing they want, because their success depends on your failure. They keep you trapped in the lie so they can keep cashing in on your struggle. And when people get desperate, they turn to starvation diets, thinking that eating almost nothing will finally force the body to burn fat. But here's the reality: when you starve yourself, your metabolism slows down to a crawl. Your body thinks it's in survival mode, so it holds on to every ounce of fat like it's saving your life. You end up feeling weak, drained, and obsessed with food, and the cravings become unbearable. And here's the cruel twist: even though you're barely eating, if what you do eat keeps insulin high, your body will still store fat instead of burning it. So now, you're stuck in the worst of both worlds, hungry all the time and still not losing weight. That's why so many people give up and rebound, gaining back even more weight than before. It's not because you failed, it's because starvation diets were designed to fail from the very start. And then there's the belief that if you just push harder in the gym, you can out-exercise a bad diet. But the truth is, you can't outrun, outlift, or outsweat high insulin. You can burn hundreds of calories on a treadmill, but if your insulin is elevated, your body is not dipping into fat. It's only burning the sugar in your blood and the sugar stored in your muscles. That's why so many people exercise religiously, day after day, and barely see the scale move. They're exhausting themselves, yet their body is still locked in storage mode. Exercise has amazing benefits. It builds strength, improves mood, supports health, but it is not the main lever for fat loss. Until you fix the hormonal problem, until you bring insulin down, no workout plan on earth will deliver the results you're chasing. That's why when people finally discover intermittent fasting and the power of cutting refined carbs, everything begins to change. Instead of constantly feeding the body and keeping insulin high, you give your system a chance to rest, to reset, and to finally tap into stored fat. Intermittent fasting isn't about starving yourself, it's about timing your meals so your body can switch from sugar burning to fat burning. And when you combine that with removing refined carbs like bread, pasta, soda, and those so-called healthy snacks, insulin drops even lower. Suddenly, your cravings fade, your energy stabilizes, and your body starts burning fat around the clock, even when you're not at the gym. This is why people who fail on every diet they've tried suddenly see results that feel almost effortless. It's not because they're working harder, it's because they're finally working with their biology instead of against it. And this is where the real shift happens, because once you stop focusing on deprivation and start fueling your body with nutrient-dense foods, everything begins to turn around. See, your body isn't crying out for endless snacks because it needs more calories. It's crying out because it's starving for nutrition. That constant hunger, that urge to keep eating, that late-night craving, it's not a weakness, it's a signal. It's your body saying, I'm not getting what I need. When you feed it empty foods, processed snacks, sugary drinks, refined carbs, you fill the stomach, but you don't satisfy the cells. The cells are left screaming for real nutrition, so the hunger never shuts off. That's why people can eat all day long and still feel unsatisfied, still feel weak, still keep gaining weight. But the moment you introduce nutrient-dense foods, everything changes. When you start eating vegetables loaded with minerals, wild-caught fish rich in omega-3s, grass-fed meats with real fat-soluble vitamins, eggs packed with choline, leafy greens full of magnesium and potassium, your body finally gets what it's been missing. Suddenly, cravings fade because the need has been met. The endless search for food quiets down because the cells are no longer starving. And here's the most incredible part. When you eat nutrient-dense foods, you naturally eat less without even trying. It's not willpower, it's biology. When your body feels nourished, it doesn't demand more. You're satisfied, calm, and in control. Think about how many people have been tricked into fearing fat, avoiding meat, skipping eggs, all while filling up on empty carbs. They end up weak, nutrient deficient, and locked in cravings they can't understand, and then they blame themselves for lacking discipline. But discipline is not the issue, malnutrition is. Real food resets the entire system. Nutrients like potassium help balance insulin. Magnesium calms the nervous system and reduces stress eating. Healthy fats stabilize blood sugar, keeping you satisfied for hours. Protein builds muscle, which increases your metabolism and helps burn fat more efficiently. Every bite of nutrient-dense food is not just fuel. It's information, sending powerful messages to your hormones, telling your body to heal, to balance, to let go of the fat it's been clinging to. Now picture this. One person starts their morning with a bowl of cereal and a glass of juice. Their insulin spikes, their blood sugar crashes, they're hungry again by mid-morning, and they spend the whole day chasing snacks. Another person starts their morning with a nutrient-rich omelet cooked in healthy fat, loaded with spinach and avocado. Their insulin stays low, their blood sugar is stable, they feel satisfied, focused, and they go hours without even thinking about food. Both people ate breakfast, but only one actually nourished their body. That's the difference nutrient density makes. It doesn't just feed you, it changes your entire state of being. And here's what most people miss. Weight loss isn't about eating less food, it's about eating better food. You can fill your plate with nutrient-rich vegetables, healthy proteins, and good fats and end up consuming fewer calories naturally, not because you forced yourself to cut back, but because your body doesn't need more once it's satisfied. The irony is, the more nutrition you give your body, the less food you need overall. And this is the complete opposite of the old lie that says you should eat less of everything. No, you should eat more of the right things. Fill your body with nutrients, and watch as your hunger, cravings, and weight start to come under control without the endless battle of willpower. This is why people who switch to nutrient-dense eating are shocked at how much easier everything becomes. They say, "I'm not even hungry anymore, I don't crave sugar the way I used to, I feel calmer, more energetic, more in control." That's not magic, that's biology working the way it was designed. When insulin is low and nutrients are high, fat burning becomes the default setting. You don't have to fight your body. It does the work for you. And the beauty of this is, it's sustainable. Anyone can starve themselves for a few weeks. Anyone can force themselves into a grueling exercise program, but that never lasts. What lasts is giving your body what it truly needs. When you're eating nutrient-dense foods, you're not fighting hunger, you're not trapped in cravings, and you're not battling fatigue. You feel nourished, and that feeling makes this a way of life, not just another diet. So the key isn't to eat less, it's to eat smarter. Replace the processed junk with real food, and you'll feel the shift almost immediately. Your energy stabilizes, your mind clears, your mood improves, and the fat starts coming off not because you're starving, but because your body is finally free to burn it. This is the secret most people never hear. Weight loss doesn't start with cutting food, it starts with nourishing the body. Once your body has what it needs, fat loss is no longer a struggle. It's simply the natural outcome of balance restored. And this is where everything comes together, because once you realize that weight loss isn't about punishing your body, but about working with it, the struggle finally ends. You see, the body was never designed to fight against you. It was created with an incredible ability to heal, to balance, and to burn fat naturally, but only if you give it the right conditions. When insulin is lowered, when cravings are silenced, when nutrients are supplied, the body doesn't resist. You don't have to force it, you don't have to suffer, it simply does what it was built to do. Fat loss stops being this uphill battle and becomes the natural byproduct of living in alignment with your biology. And think about the freedom in that. No more counting every calorie, no more guilt after every meal, no more fear that one slip will undo all your progress. Instead, you trust the process because you know your body is on your side. You're no longer fighting hunger every day. You're eating until you're satisfied. You're no longer dragging yourself to workouts in desperation. You're moving your body because you feel energized. You're no longer chained to the cycle of diets that fail. You're free because this is not temporary, it's sustainable. When you work with your body instead of against it, weight loss becomes effortless, but it's more than that. It's not just about the number on the scale, it's about reclaiming control over your health, your energy, your confidence, your life. It's about realizing that the lie you were told, that you must endlessly eat less and exercise more, was never the truth. The truth is far more powerful when you honor how your body truly works, when you give it real food, when you lower insulin, when you restore balance. You don't just lose weight, you gain freedom. So, in the end, the biggest weight loss lie in history has kept millions of people trapped, believing they're broken, believing they're weak, believing they've failed. But the truth is, it was never your fault. You were given the wrong map, the wrong instructions, the wrong tools. And once you see through that lie, once you understand that fat loss is not about starving yourself or punishing yourself, but about lowering insulin, nourishing your body, and working with your biology, everything changes. Your body already knows how to burn fat. It already knows how to heal. All it needs is for you to step out of the lie and into the truth. Because the moment you do, weight loss stops being a struggle, and it becomes what it was always meant to be: simple, natural, and unstoppable.